I am Immaculate Fogwe. Activities were grounded for several hours in the economic capital city due to the heavy rains experienced today. Several denizens were unable to go about their daily activities or go to their different job sites due to the fact that roads were blocked as a result of the heavy floods experienced in the city of Douala today. And same is situation in Limbe, that is the seaside resort city of Limbe, that is in the southwest region, where activities were equally grounded for several hours. And in the northwest region, precisely on the Gambe stretch of road, circulation was perturbed for several months now due to the heavy rains in that part of the country. Vehicles are unable to ply due to the fact that many vehicles get stuck in the thick mud found on that stretch of road. We'll be telling you more about the challenges faced by the population who plow on this road on a daily basis. Those are major stories. Stay with us for details and more. Once more, good evening, dear televiewers, and thank you so much for staying with us on today's edition of the 6 p.m. Primetime Newscast. We begin right here in the city of Douala, where several neighborhoods across the city got flooded today due to the heavy rains. The rain that lasted for over 6 hours prevented several persons from going about their daily activities. Neighborhoods like Bonaprizo, Aqua, Makepe Misoke, Mabanda, and many others were affected by the rain, which started yesterday night at about 11 p.m. Enormous material damages were incurred, and according to the city mayor, they urged residents to clean their drainage patterns so as to ease the movement of water. The heavy rains worsened the already bad state of roads in Monaco, a neighborhood in Bipanda that's in the Douala 5 subdivision. The huge potholes found there made circulation a huge or a daunting task for several residents. And away from Douala, we now take you to the seaside resort city of Limbe. The situation was worse as the rain has continuously been falling for 2 days now. Several parts of the city got flooded today. Local authorities have made a clarion call for the city dwellers to stop constructing houses on areas marked as risk zone. And they have equally been urged to stop dumping dirt in gutters and stop building on waterways so as to ease the flow of runoffs when it rains. The government of Cameroon and local authorities are trying to find lasting solutions to the problem of floods, as with the case of Douala and that of Limbe. And away from floods, we stay in the city of Limbe to talk about goods worth millions of francs CFA that have been burnt to ashes after several shops were engulfed by fire in Limbe, southwest region. A firefighting unit in Limbe is currently absent, and the locals are saying it is a cause for concern, reason why the fire is sometimes difficult to be turned off by the population. And reacting to the incident, the city mayor assured the population that measures are being taken by the government to address their plight. We have details with our Limbe correspondent, Davison Maimo.
According to eyewitness account, smoke was spotted in one of the shops of the top floor of the one-story building at about 11 p.m. on Saturday. Every effort by the young people who rushed the scene to break the iron door of the shop was abortive, providing much time for the fire to escalate.
Because if you have to say, for gaming to open that the first door, the fire started, the thing of our show.
But the particular door the fire is moved up more up to now. The door don't want to be for fit to open the door, but all the rest doors them all for up, don't be born up, down, ashes all. No man move any single thing for up.
Mobile phones, electronic devices, clothes, computers, among others, worth millions of francs CFA were burned to ashes. The people of Limbe say the absence of a firefighting unit in Limbe, added to the non-response assistant of the firefighting unit of the National Oil Refinery Sonora, greatly contributed to the fire disaster.
We have because that will soon be coming video, you know, video means don't be taken like serious. That fire stand as small. If they be careful, they help a lot.
After visiting the scene, the Limbe City Mayor, Paul Efome Lisombe Mbolengale, assured the population that in a not too distant future, the Limbe City Council shall have a new firefighting van, thanks to a cooperation ties with the city of Corma in France.
The population should be patient, and we are working hard to see that we have another firefighting machine. I'm not sure this year will end without us having a new firefighting machine, thanks to our cooperation and partnership with the government.
The fire, whose origin is yet to be established, took more than 2 hours for the brave young men to bring it under control. The senior divisional officer for FACU, accompanied by local authorities, visited the scene to evaluate the damage and fine-tune strategies to prevent future fire disasters.
And we stay in the southwest region of Cameroon, where the Limbe city mayor has urged war or has launched a war against clandestine transportation in the city. Paul Efomelisombe Mbolengali says the legal sector has contributed greatly in the rise of urban disorder in that part of his area. We have details once more by Davison Maimo. We'll be coming back to the report in today's edition of the news, so stay with us. So members of a family have staged a peaceful protest in Jombe requesting that their land should be seized by whosoever. The demonstration by the Water family came after one of the sons of the 5 wives of the late Water sold a family land of about 54 hectares without notifying other family members. Smaji Kangebel has the details.
With placards that read, "Agriculture is a noble profession. Forcing us out of the land means depriving our children from their educational rights and health. Forcing us out of this land is depriving us from food," among other messages, were displayed as disgruntled members of the Water family in Jombe, Mongo division of the littoral region, staged a peaceful protest on their land, which is about to be taken from them.
2022,
He has never come physically for us to see since the problem started in 2022. He has been sending his lawyers. Our lawyer told them that they had no right to get into the piece of land. Even the minister cancelled the land document. So they went and bribed our brother, who accepted to leave the land, but we don't accept it. Everyone fits on it, and we don't have any other means apart from this piece of land.
It
was with great shock that those farming on the 54 hectare of land made their farmlands containing the crops they planted being destroyed by a bulldozer accompanied by security officers. The people say it's over their dead body that they will allow anyone to take away their farmland.
Me, I don't feel like they will kill me before they enter for the farm. They bury me for calling from my papa before they take the farm.
The 54 hectare of land has been of a great help to the people who have been working on it for several years now. Amongst them are internally displaced who see dark days ahead if they have to evict them from the farmland. The piece of land is helping us because since we flew away from the crisis and came here, it's thanks to the farm that I've been feeding my family and even pay the fees of my kids. If they are asking us to leave now, where are we going to? The first wife of late Water said, "Whatsoever is happening now on the piece of land is more than hard to bear."
I've been married for 1900.
I got married in 1958. At the time we were gaining independence. My husband came here and we started working on this land. I was surprised when bulldozers came and started destroying the crops that were planted there. I am confused about what is happening now because we don't have anywhere else to go. According to sources within the Water family, the 54 hectare of land under trouble was the property left behind by late Water to his 5 wives. But surprisingly, a son from one of the wives sold the land to a senior government official without informing the other family members. The other members of the family are now calling on the government to help them.
And now we go back to that report done by Limbe-based correspondent Davison Maimo, where he says Limbe City Mayor has launched a war against clandestine transportation in that part of the country. Paul Efome Lisombe Mbolengale says the illegal sector has contributed greatly in the rise of urban disorder. We have details with our Limbe-based correspondent Davison Maimo.
Don't tell me, give me that key. Don't tell me, give me the key. Give me the key.
It was a surprise outing by the Limbe City Mayor, Paul Efome Lisombe Mbolengale, to fight against urban disorder. Accompanied by the Mayor of Limbe 1 municipality, Eposi Florence Mboye, Limbe City Mayor says the threat on the lives and intimidation of elements of the municipal police by clandestine transporters that top government officials are owners of their vehicles is enough.
These Plano drivers, they are telling lies. They use that pretext to threaten some of my collaborators who are in charge of recovery. I say no. There's no such an authority, big people, that, as we can say, that can entangle themselves with this kind of unlawful acts. And I will not negotiate. People should not call me to release any car. I'm not going to release any car. And passengers should go to the park. The park is alive, so people should go to the park.
The city mayor says the risk of pedestrians being knocked down by a vehicle is high, as clandestine transporters create unnecessary traffic congestion around the half-mile vicinity. For the past 2 weeks, the authorities of the Limbe City Council have been in total war with roadside vendors, especially those who have built makeshift structures along the street, destroying them.
I don't want to see disorder in town. This town is a town of order, and I don't want it. I don't want disorder in this town.
The mission, the Limbe City Mayor says, shall not stop until there is total order in the heart of the city of Limbe.
Rest there first before you. I want to see the guy. No matter how long it takes, rest there.
The population of Cameroon, particularly those of the population of Douala, expressing concerns about the problem of frequent parkouts experienced in our country today. Our reporter AC Lucy visited some business persons who expressed their discontentment and the fact that they have lost millions of francs CFA due to these frequent parkouts that has made them unable to go about their daily activities. She compiled some of their reactions and made this report.
Frequent pass shortage in most neighborhoods of the city of Douala, according to business persons, has been paralyzing economic activities.
Oui, en ce qui concerne les coupures, ce ne sont que les manques à gagner. Bon, puisque quand on coupe la lumière, on ne peut plus rien faire.
Apparemment, quand on coupe la lumière tous les jours, vraiment ça nous freine pour le travail.
Store owners dealing in perishables are those was hit by the disrupted power supply.
Voilà, je viens de perdre au moins.
This businessman says he has lost about 400,000 francs for goods he stored in his freezer. Just 2 days of power outage, his goods got bad. With the economic hardship, most households prefer buying in large quantities and store in their deep freezers. But with the continuous seizure of electricity in some neighborhoods, storing food has become difficult. Most people depend on electricity to carry out their daily activities and also have income to feed their families.
Moi, particulièrement, j'ai les enfants, j'ai une femme.
It is very difficult for me because I depend on my work to feed my family. When there is no light, it is more complicated.
Nous aimerions que tout ça change.
These complaints come at a time when the new general manager of Cameroon's national electricity utility, Nous, has been appointed. Amin Homan Ludiye replaces Patrick Ekelas as the new general manager of Nous. The general manager has a daunting task ahead as to resolving the problems faced by the population of Douala and Cameroon at large.
And now we talk the Anglophone crisis. Last weekend was a bloody one in the northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon. Several persons were killed due to the over 6-year-old armed conflict that has been affecting the population. Parliamentarians have raised deep concerns over the situation during the June session of Parliament. Babila Jonathan tells us more.
The crisis in the northwest and southwest are not yet over.
Honorable Ngale Etongo reminds the minister delegate at the presidency in charge of defense, Joseph Betia Somo, that the Anglophone crisis is still raging. He was speaking in Parliament last weekend, a bloody weekend in the two crisis-stricken regions. Several persons killed in Noni in the Bui Division, northwest region of Cameroon by armed men, and in the southwest region, a man is killed allegedly by a uniformed officer at Three Corners, Fiango, in Kumba, Meme Division, while several workers of the Cameroon Development Corporation are abducted in two residential quarters in Edinau. Amidst these atrocities, members of parliament question what is qualified as unusual happenings, raising suspicions of collaboration between the military and the armed fighters.
I passed an amber checkpoint on the highway, and after about maybe close to 300 meters, I met a military checkpoint. And when I got to Batigo town, I met the military checkpoint. When I went down PHS Batigo, I met an amber checkpoint. So it began to puzzle me whether it is some collaboration that is going on between the military and the amber boys. Because they cannot be controlling on the highway, and the military, they are aware of the fact that they are controlling, and nothing is done.
Another suspicion of collaboration is directed towards the phone of Mbiame in the Donga Mantum Division. He is accused of collaborating with the armed fighters. The accusations were provoked by the reception granted to him by his population and the armed fighters in his area. Another point of concern is the fate of persons abducted or kidnapped. Some of the persons are still in captivity, and Honorable Awuta Philip is worried about the silence of military and administrative authorities.
Our comrades went for the celebration of the 20th May. On their way back, they were kidnapped. And for over 1 month now, they are in the hands of the separatists. We have made all possible efforts to ensure that they should be released, and up to now, nothing has been done. They are still there. Only one person was released, and the 4 others are still in captivity.
Honorable Ngale Etongo is concerned about the poor conduct of some of the soldiers on duty in the northwest and southwest regions.
Time and again, you get some of our forces of law and order harassing the population, seizing phones, taking money, and you begin to ask yourself, what is happening? Is it that these military people are not well paid, or it is that they deviate from their training?
Honorable Etongo has also urged the Minister of Defense to ensure that a communication system installed in Bamunso 10 years ago is operational in a bid to connect the locality to the rest of the world through the communication network.
And away from news connected to the over 6-year-old armed conflict, we stay still in the northwest region, where drivers are now compelled to spend more than 5 days on the Kambe stretch of road, a stretch of about 28.7 kilometers, which has transformed from bad to worse recently. Several persons plying the stretch have experienced enormous breakdowns. And in an effort to help the population manage the situation, the mayor of the Kambe Council, alongside councillors and members of the Drivers' Union, carried out community work on the stretch of road. Mala Glory explains to us challenges faced by people plying on the stretch of road on a daily basis.
Transformed to slippery and sticky mud that sometimes gets stuck, leading to accidents. Vehicle owners and passengers plying the stretch most often need to give the driver a push to help come out of the mud. This is the stretch of the ring road from Do to Kambe in Doga Mountain Division, northwest region of Cameroon, that has moved from bad to worst recently, making it inaccessible. Road users recount via audio. We left the southwest region to bury our father in Tabikin. It's been 4 days now that we are stuck here in the mud. Living from Do to Kambe, I have spent more than 5 days on the road already.
5 days.
The poor road conditions coupled with the heavy rains have led to an increase of transport fare.
With the crisis, we know say petrol and gas.
With the crisis and the bad road, it was not possible for us to get fuel. We relied on fuel from Nigeria. Now it's scarce. First we paid 20,000 francs as transport fare, but today we pay more than 20,000 francs.
But now so, that 20-something thousand we drivers them they ask them for pay.
To manage the situation, the population assembled to fix the road. The mayor of the Cambe Council, together with council workers and drivers' union, joined efforts to carry out some community work, during which the mayor accused the contractor to have abandoned the population to suffer.
Women you have to go to the hospital, they get delivered in mud around all of this. And in December 2022, the Minister of Public Works gave maintenance work so that the road should be passable to a contractor called Sawi. And since then, no job has been done. The population remains here. Contractor is being protected, but we cannot understand that somebody takes a contract.
The drivers' union and the population call on the elites of the Donga Mountain Division to collaborate for the good of the people and public authorities to rehabilitate the road in order to end their suffering.
And now we talk religion. Muslim faithfuls in Douala bracing up to celebrate the Feast of the Ram. Our reporter Annabella visited some tailoring workshops across the city of Douala, and she says they are trying to meet up with the demands of their customers. She visited the Newbell neighborhood right here, and she tells us how these tailors are struggling to meet ends meet.
In the streets of Newbell in Douala, Muslim faithful make last-minute preparation ahead of the feast of the Ram or sacrifice.
Oui, la fête, alhamdulillah, parce que on voit un peu le mouvement que les clients viennent nous faire le ravitaillement. C'est-à-dire ils s'habillent, ils achètent même le marché un peu dur, mais grâce à Dieu, ça marche.
At Bata Congo, just like in other parts of the country, shops were filled with dresses of all designs.
Je dis alhamdulillah, de mon côté, il n'y a pas de problème, je n'ai pas de problème des clients. Parce que je me suis satisfait avec tous mes clients.
As Muslims prepare for the feast, the faithful, both men and women, buy new dresses for their families from the market. Others are patiently waiting at the tailors to collect their newly sewn outfits.
Ça serait bien. On souhaite seulement que la pluie là ne nous dérange pas pour la fête du matin, non, pour aller à la mosquée.
At one of the mosques in Newbell, the Muslim faithful have their last prayer session ahead of the feast of the Tabaski. On the feast day itself, that will be celebrated on Wednesday, the faithful would have to slaughter, cook and share a sheep with family, neighbors and friends. Less than 24 hours to the feast of the Tabaski, the feast of the sacrifice or the feast of the Ram. These Muslim faithful here in this mosque right behind me are doing last-minute prayers or last-minute preparations ahead of the feast of the Tabaski, the feast in which Abraham obediently sacrificed his only son Ishmael to Allah. Reporting from the Bata Congo Mosque here in Douala, I am Annabella Tufiki for Equinoxe Television.
Thank you so much, Annabella. And we now take you out of our borders. The eyes of the world remain on Russia after the Wagner Group of Chief Yevgeny Prigozin's attempted mutiny on Saturday posed what many regard as the greatest challenge President Vladimir Putin is facing within his two-decade grip of power. In a speech inside the Kremlin on Monday, Putin described the mutineers as criminals. More on our international page, done by Fomi Armstrong Sanda.
In a televised address to the nation on Monday, Putin called the organizers of the uprising as criminals and vowed to bring them to book. He also said the uprising would have been crushed even if Prigozhin had not cut a deal with the Kremlin that reportedly saw him exiled to Belarus. The revolt raised questions about Vladimir Putin's grip on power and what could be next for the country. Some analysts expect a purge as Putin looks to reassert his dominance in the country, while many are skeptical that the peaceful exile of Prigozhin and his fellow mutineers will go ahead. Reacting on the same topic, U.S. President Joe Biden clarified on Monday that the United States was not involved in the aborted weekend rebellion in Russia. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, meanwhile, called for further support from the Western leaders to repair the Russian invasion. European foreign ministers and NATO officials on Monday pledged fresh military support to Ukraine, with the European Union's military assistance fund set to have increased by 3.5 billion euros to roughly 12 billion euros in the coming years. In his nightly video address, President Zelensky also praised Ukrainian troops later on Monday for what he called advances made in all directions after he spent the day visiting soldiers in the front line in eastern and the southern Ukraine. Meantime, a Russian missile striking hit a cluster of buildings in the town of Kremenchuk in central Ukraine, exactly 1 year in from a deadly attack in a shopping mall in the city, according to Ukrainian officials. President Vladimir Putin is expected to address the Russian people again, and expectations are high that the Russian president will make changes as far as the Ministry of Defense is concerned.
And that's where we'll put an end to today's edition of the 6 p.m. primetime newscast on Equinoxe Television. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for your keen attention. Stay in the company of more interesting programs on ETV. Up next is Equinoxe Soir.